Çok teşekkür ediyoruz ayırdığınız vakit için. Sevda Öncel-Bat ben, BEB British Education Bureau kurucusuyum. Aynı zamanda eğitim direktörüyüm şirketimizin. Bugün University of Bristol'ı konuk ediyoruz. Çok değerli bir üniversite. Her alanda çok farklı başarıları var. Sizi Sarah ile biraz sonra tanıştırıyor olacağım ama öncelikle birazcık İngiltere ile ilgili, Birleşik Krallık'la ilgili çok kısa notlar aktaracağım sizlere. Sunumu dinlerken biraz daha konulara vakıf olmanızı da sağlar diye düşünüyoruz. Öncelikle British Education Bureau'dan bahsetmek istiyorum. Biz kimiz diye. Evet, şöyle yapalım. BEB 2002 yılında Oxford'da kurulan ve İngiliz-Türk ortaklı bir yapıya sahip olan bir eğitim danışmanlığı firması. 18 yıldır İstanbul, İzmir ve Ankara'da ofislerimizde, öğrencilerimize hizmet sunuyoruz.
Sevda Hanım, kusura bakmayın. Şu anda birinci sayfada değiliz sanırım.
Değil miyiz? Peki.
Evet.
Şu anda nasıl görünüyor İmran Bey?
Şu anda lisans eğitimi bölümler sayfasındayız.
Tamam. Sunum açıkken katılımcı öğrencilerimiz oldukça sunum böyle bazen etkilenebiliyor. Şöyle yapalım. Ben çıkayım. Tekrar yeniden sunuma gireyim. Okay. Şu anda nasıl görünüyor İmran Bey?
Şimdi yükleniyor sanırım.
Okay. Peki. Görebildik mi ekranı?
Hala yükleniyor Sevda Hanım. İsterseniz
Peki.
Biz görebiliyoruz aslında. Ben katılımcıyım.
Öyle mi? Tamam. Eren görebiliyorum diyor. Belki de İmran Bey sizin...
görebiliyoruz.
Okey, tamam, süper, harika. İlk sayfadaysak ben devam edeyim o halde.
Evet, şu an ilk sayfadayız.
Okey, tamam. Çok teşekkür ederim. Peki, BEB'den çok kısa bahsedeyim. Aksaklık için özür dileriz, kusura bakmayın öncelikle. Biz 18 yıldır İstanbul, Ankara ve İzmir'de aslında Türkiye'nin her yerinde öğrencilerimize hizmet sunuyoruz. Uzmanlık alanımız İngiltere'deki eğitim sistemi, üniversitelerin giriş şartları, başvuru süreci, A'dan Z'ye bir öğrencinin ihtiyacı olabilecek, bu süreçte ihtiyacı olabilecek her şey aslında sunduğumuz hizmet. Danışman arkadaşlarımız, ekibimiz İstanbul, Ankara ve İzmir'deki İngiltere eğitim sistemine vakıf olan bir ekipten oluşuyor. Bu konuda eğitimler alıyoruz. Her sene kendimizi yeniliyoruz. Hatta şu anda bile British Council'ın refreshment kursundayız. Hepimiz ekip olarak, onu da bildirmek mutlu etti beni. Birleşik Krallık'ta 130 tane devlet üniversitesi vardır. BEB 90'ın Türkiye'de resmi temsilciliğini yapan bir kurum. Temsilciliğini yaptığımız üniversitelerimiz için tamamen ücretsiz hizmet sağlıyoruz biz. University of Bristol'da resmi temsilciliğini yaptığımız partnerlerimizden bir tanesi. Hem de çok değerli olanlardan bir tanesi. Üniversite seçimini neye göre yapmalı bir öğrenci? Ben bu konuyu çok önemsiyorum. Neye göre seçim yapalım? Öncelikle ülke seçimi yapalım elbette. Ülkeyi seçtikten sonra okul seçimi öncesinde bölüm seçmeniz çok daha sağlıklı oluyor. Bölüm seçimini yaptıktan sonra okulu seçelim. Çünkü her okulda istediğimiz bölüm olmayabilir. Bölüme karar verdikten sonra hangi ana bilim dalında eğitim almak istiyoruzsa okul seçimini ondan sonraki adımda gerçekleştirmek çok daha sağlam ilerlememizi sağlar. Okul seçimi de neye göre yapılır? Başarı sıralaması elbette ki çok önemli. Dünya başarı sıralaması önemli. UK'de, United Kingdom'da başarı sıralaması önemli. Akabinde belki de şehir bazlı seçimler yapabilirsiniz. Şehirde de küçük şehir insanı mısınız, büyük şehir insanı mısınız, ona göre değişiklikler gösterebilir bu. Üniversitelerin hepsi kampüs üniversitesi değil İngiltere'de. Kampüs üniversitesi ve şehir üniversitesi olarak ikiye ayrılır. Dolayısıyla kampüste mi olmak isterseniz yoksa şehir üniversitesinde mi, belki böyle bir farklılıkla seçimlerinizi daraltma şansınız olur. Elbette ki sonrasında da sosyal imkanlar, sağlanılan sosyal imkanlar çok önemli. Arzu eden öğrencilerimiz için milliyet dağılımını da şeffaf bir şekilde üniversiteler sağlarlar. Buna göre seçim yapmamız en sağlıklısı olacaktır. Birleşik Krallık 4 tane ülkeden oluşuyor. En yukarıdan başlayalım. Aberdeen'i görüyorsunuz. Newcastle'a kadar olan bölüm İskoçya'yı kapsıyor. İskoçya. Akabininde Newcastle'dan başlıyor. Sol kısmı almıyoruz. Aşağıya kadar iniyoruz. Burası tamamen İngiltere. Ülkenin batısı şu kısım Galler ve bir de Kuzey İrlanda var. Belfast'ı içine alan. 4 ülkeden oluşuyor Birleşik Krallık. Eğitim sistemleri çok benzer ülkeler arasında ama çok minik de olsa farklılıklar var. Şimdi onlardan da bahsediyor olacağım. 130 tane devlet üniversitesi var İngiltere'de. %90'ının yok denkliği mevcut. Lisans eğitimi, interaktif bir eğitim sistemine vakıf, özellikle de United Kingdom'da, bütün United Kingdom'a baktığımızda interaktif eğitim sistemi undergraduate olsun, postgraduate öğrencisi olsun, eğitime sizleri de içine alan ve dahil eden, sizlerin de bir takım fikirlerinizi beyan edebileceğiniz ve bunu monolog değil, diyalog şeklinde ilerletebileceğiniz bir eğitim sistemine sahip. İngiltere'de, Galler'de ve Kuzey İrlanda'da lisans eğitimi 3 yıl, İskoçya'da 4 yıldır. Böyle ufak bir farklılık var. Master programları her 4 ülkede de 1 yıldır sadece. Doktora eğitimi 3 yıldır. Lisans eğitimine geri döneceğim. Eğer istediğimiz üniversiteye girmek için not ortalamamız yeterli değil ise, bu master'da da vardır. Öncesinde 1 yıl hazırlık okuyabileceğimiz bir foundation senemiz var. Lisans eğitimi için bunun ismi foundation'dır. Master öncesi eğitim için ise pre-master olarak adlandırılır. 1 yıldır gene bu eğitimin süresi. Doktora eğitimi ise 3 yıldır. İngiltere'de, daha doğrusu Birleşik Krallık'ta bu sene 2. senesi olacak olan çok güzel bir fırsat vardır. Mezuniyet sonrası öğrencisine 2 yıl ülkede kalma izni verir ve öğrenci bu 2 yıl içerisinde de iş bulma imkanı elde eder. Şartsız bir şekilde verir. Dolayısıyla bu da çok güzel bir fırsat aslında öğrencilerimiz için. Birleşik Krallık'ta eğitim almanın bir güzel yanı da dünya başarı sıralamasında ilk 100'de bulunan üniversitelerden kabul alma şansını elde edebiliyor olmamız. Dünya sıralamasında yüzlerce üniversite var. Her ülkeden üniversiteler var. Ama Birleşik Krallık bu konuda gerçekten çok başarılı. İlk 100'de olan üniversite sayısı çok fazla. Dolayısıyla bizim de aslında kabul aldığımız noktada dünya sıralamasında ilk 100'de olan üniversitelerde eğitim alabilme şansımız oluyor. Eğitim yelpazesi oldukça geniştir. Her alanda istediğiniz konuyu bulma şansınız var. 3 yıl lisans eğitimiyle ilgili 3 yıl dediğimiz eğitim süreci 3 farklı ana bilim dalında değişiklik gösteriyor. Lisans öğrencilerimiz için bu bilgi. Tıp fakültesi 3 yıl değildir, 5 yıl ya da 6 yıldır bazı üniversitelerde. Akabininde eğer İngiltere'de tıp noktasında uzman olarak kariyerimize devam etmek istiyorsak 10 yıllık bir eğitim sürecini göze almak durumundayız. Mimarlık ve hukuk da buna benzerdir. Eğer Türkiye'ye dönüp mimar ya da avukat olarak devam etmek istiyorsak 3 yıllık bir eğitim bizim için yeterli oluyor. Ancak İngiltere'de, Avrupa'nın farklı bir ülkesinde kariyerimize mimar ya da avukat olarak devam etmek istiyorsak 7 yıllık bir eğitim sürecini kabul etmemiz gerekiyor en başında. Hukuk öğrencilerimiz için Türk hukuku derslerini alamayacakları için Birleşik Krallık'taki üniversitelerde hukuk öğrencilerimiz döndükten sonra 1 yıl, yarım dönem oluyor genelde bu. 1 yıl farklı derslerini, Türk hukuku derslerini aldıktan sonra denkliklerini alıyorlar ve baroya kayıtlı avukat olarak kariyerlerine Türkiye'de devam edebiliyorlar. Benim söyleyeceklerim bu kadar. Ben şimdi sözü değerli meslektaşım, University of Bristol yetkilisi Sarah Ashman'a vermek istiyorum. Sorularınız olabilir. Cevaplamak adına sunumun sonunda chat room'a yazarsanız eğer bizlerin de yardımıyla Sarah'dan yanıtları almaya devam ediyor olacağız. Ben teşekkür ederim. Tekrar görüşmek üzere. Sarah, it's yours now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sevda. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen with everybody. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the University of Bristol and the city of Bristol itself. And we're going to take a little bit of a whistle-stop tour of the city, but I'll start off by introducing myself. My name is Sarah Ashman, and I'm the International Market Manager specifically for Turkey at the University of Bristol, which means my role is to support students such as yourselves throughout the application process and then all the way through your journey to arriving with us on campus in Bristol. So like I said, we'll start with a bit of a tour of the city of Bristol. So for those of you that haven't visited us before, we are based in the southwest of England, which we are marked with a little red star on the map here. And we're about an hour and a half outside of London, so not too far from the big cities that you'll be familiar with. Now, Bristol is known for its arts and culture. We're a city that is packed full of creativity, and we are particularly well known for our love of street art and for allegedly being home to the highly secretive street artist Banksy. Most of our students actually walk past the Banksy piece on their way into university every day, which is really exciting. And you can really experience the best street art there is in Bristol because we are home to a festival called Upfest, which is the largest street art and graffiti festival in Europe. And that takes place in Bristol every summer, and it sort of takes over the entire city. So you can do walking tours and just, it's a really great experience. And it's something that I think is really unique to the city of Bristol. Now, Bristol's most famous landmark is the Clifton Suspension Bridge, which you can see here. And this is a 150-year-old bridge that spans the Avon Gorge and the River Avon. And it also is quite useful because it links the city centre to the really beautiful Lee Woods countryside area on the right-hand side of the screen. It's also significant because it was designed by world-renowned engineer Isambard Kingdom Brunel. And he is considered to be one of the most ingenious and prolific engineers in history. So there is very much a history of engineering in Bristol. And if you can believe it, this was actually the longest bridge in the world when it was first built. Now, you also might have spotted in the background that there are some balloons in the background of this picture, and that's because it was taken during the annual International Balloon Fiesta, which is another festival that takes place in Bristol, where over 100 hot air balloons from all over the world come to Bristol and launch at one time. And it makes for some really spectacular views all across the city, and it's something we all look forward to every year. So again, something that's quite unique to Bristol as a city. And what's great is that the university itself is based right at the heart of the city centre, which means our students really do get to experience everything that the city has to offer. So in the centre of this picture here, you can see our Wills Memorial Building, which is actually one of the most photographed buildings in Bristol, and it does belong to the University of Bristol. It's home to our School of Law and School of Earth Sciences, but all of our students get to use it because it is also the location for all of our graduation ceremonies. So I'm sure you can agree, it's a very spectacular place to graduate from, so that's something to look forward to. And then I've also included some of the colourful houses that have become a little bit of a trademark for Bristol, and you can see them throughout the city. There's even some rules that certain houses have to be painted in particular colours, so there is quite a commitment to keeping Bristol as colourful as it possibly can be. And because Bristol is a compact city and that the campus itself is in the city centre, students can really enjoy areas such as the one that's on the screen now, which is our Harbourside area. This is a 10 to 15 minute walk away from university, so you can leave your lectures and be at this really beautiful view within 10 minutes. So like I said, students really, really make the most of living in the city centre. To sort of balance that, in the middle of the city, but we're quite compact, which means it's really easy for you to get around. There's no need to have a car or use public transport. Students will usually choose to travel by foot, but travelling by bike is also a really popular way to get around Bristol. It's how I choose to get around Bristol. And having a bike also means that you can have really easy access to the 450 parks that are within Bristol's city boundaries. And just how green the city is often what students tell us is their favourite thing about the city. So while we're in the middle of the city centre, you've got access to everything you would need. You've also got plenty of green spaces to enjoy as well. So the best of both worlds in many ways. But I'm obviously a little bit biased when it comes to telling you how great of a city Bristol is. So I've included some other sources that do agree with me. So as you can see, Bristol has been voted the best place to live outside of London, the kindest city as well as the greenest city. We are very into sustainability here in Bristol, and we were lucky enough to have Greta Thunberg come and visit us before the pandemic to join the climate strikes in Bristol. And then I guess most importantly, it is a great city for student life, and we're home to 2 large universities. So the city is really geared to students, and it feels quite lonely and quiet when students leave for the summer. So students really are at the heart of Bristol. But moving on to the university itself then, we think studying at the University of Bristol is a great choice for you and for your future career. But of course, again, I'm a little bit biased. So I'm going to run through some of the accolades we are most proud of at the University of Bristol. So according to QS, we are just inside the world's top 60 universities, ranking in at 58th in the world. And that places us alongside other world-leading universities like Ivy League universities in the US, for example. QS also ranks us as 9th in the UK. And on top of that, we are a member of the prestigious Russell Group of universities, so you can be sure that you're studying at a really highly ranked institution. We are also a research-led and research-intensive university, but what that means for our students is that you are studying content that is very much at the cutting edge of your field. And that's because the academics that are teaching you are currently undergoing world-class research, which they feed right back into their teaching. So you'll be learning from world-class experts, which is very exciting and very important as well. But the quality of our teaching is also very important to us. It's something we take very seriously, and I'm sure it will also be very important to you as prospective students. And that is reflected in our Times Higher Education ranking that places us 9th in Europe for the quality of our teaching. Now, I've talked a little bit about our high overall rankings, but what's also important is that 35 of our subjects are ranked in the world top 100 as well. So whatever course you choose to study with us, you can be sure that it is of the very highest quality. Another important factor when choosing to study at a university is, of course, what career you'll go on to afterwards. And studying at the University of Bristol does really make sure that you will be highly employable when you leave us. And we know that because based on a survey of the top 100 employers in the UK, we are actually the 4th most targeted university. So our graduates are in very, very high demand. And what's exciting about this is that these employers are world class. They do include multinational companies that operate on a global basis. So you're very much maximising your employment potential when you graduate as a University of Bristol student. And our course offering is very broad, and we do cover a whole different disciplines across our 6 faculties. Now, I won't go into a huge amount of detail about these courses because there are hundreds of them, but I'll cover briefly sort of the general disciplines that we cover. So we start with our art-based courses in humanities, history, music and film, through to our really popular and highly renowned courses in law, as well as a range of courses in social science, business-related courses, so management, accounting, economics. Then our engineering courses offer a whole range of different options for you. Aerospace, which is a particular area of speciality in Bristol, but then also civil, mechanical and electrical engineering as well. Our science faculty is home to the more traditional science subjects, the ones you may have studied at school, so chemistry, physics, maths and geology. We do then, of course, have our healthcare professions. So we have clinical courses in medicine, dentistry and veterinary science. And then last but certainly not least, we have our life science faculty that covers all of the courses that relate to biology in any way. So biology itself, biomedical science, psychology, neuroscience, and lots of biotechnology, cellular and molecular medicine as well. So lots of really specialized courses there as well. And we do offer students really comprehensive support at the University of Bristol, and we offer 24/7 services throughout your studies, because we know university level study can be challenging. It is full of ups and downs, and particularly for students such as yourselves who will be adjusting to a whole new country and a whole new education system. So we start off with our student advisors, because they are your first point of contact. And they act, like I say, first point of contact if you've got any issues at all, and they can arrange any support that you might need. And they are also available if you have any concerns about fellow students as well. But that support also extends out into our accommodation options. So we have a residential support team who are your support network when you're living in our accommodation. Again, they can help with any concerns that you might have, whether that be homesickness, adjusting to life at university or in the UK, to resolving issues with flatmates. So they can very much support you with anything really. And then they are your personal tutors. So they will focus on your academic and personal development and really make sure that you're getting the most out of your studies. And they will be an academic from the department you're studying. You'll meet them in Welcome Week and they stay with you throughout your degree. So they are, again, another point of support for you. And then on top of that, we have a range of specialist services that are available exclusively to our students. So we have a full health service, so doctors, nurses and pharmacists, a full counselling service as well. And then students such as yourselves who are international are additionally supported by staff such as myself within the international office. And we are particularly on hand when you first arrive to arrange transfers from the airport to campus, supporting you to settle in, as well as a range of welcome activities. So plenty of support available to make sure you succeed in your studies. But I've already really briefly mentioned that a huge part of your decision in choosing to study at a university overseas is getting the opportunity to really maximise your future employment options. So we support you to do this as soon as you join us, and our careers service is available from day one. And we really do recommend that students get involved as soon as they arrive, because there are so many different ways that we can support you. And that starts with advising on your CV, on your resume, help with job applications, all the way through to interview practice as well. And another really useful service they provide is if you're not 100% sure what you'd like to do with your career, then they can help you explore your options, look at further study, look at work experience and support you to make that decision. But throughout your studies, there are opportunities to attend events hosted by top employers from the UK, but also overseas. You can begin building your professional network. And in a normal year, we would have over 300 employers visit us on campus. So there is plenty of opportunity to really explore your options and get exposure to industry experts. But I wanted to talk specifically about another way that we maximise your employability options at Bristol, and that is by offering the option of an integrated work placement as part of many of our courses, particularly our engineering courses, but there are options outside of that as well. Now, the companies that you can see on the screen now are all in partnership with just one of our courses. So these are the partners that work with our engineering design program, but this is just an example. There are many other courses. And these companies are involved in taking students on placements during the summer of their first year and in the third year of the course for year-long placements. They also provide projects for year 4 and 5 students, and they also input into the teaching of the course. So we make sure that the courses are highly relevant for industry by working really closely with these employers. So you will get lots of industry exposure and work experience. And what that does is it really enhances your CV and your graduate employment prospects, because you're not just graduating with a degree, you're graduating with a big chunk of work experience as well, which is really, really beneficial. But there is also another side to university, of course. There is the social side, and we know that our clubs and societies are hugely important to students. And our Students' Union is home to over 400 clubs and societies. And that covers pretty much everything you could possibly imagine. And what's great is if there's not a club that covers your specific area of interest, you can go ahead and start your own. And that's another thing that looks really great on your CV, having founded a society. And given the growing number of Turkish students that we do see at the University of Bristol, this does now include a Turkish society. And what's exciting about that is, first of all, it gives you the chance to meet other Turkish students when you first arrive, which students really appreciate because it helps them settle in and keeps that taste of home, so it keeps the homesickness at bay. But it also gives you the opportunity to show off the rich culture and heritage of Turkey to the wider university community as well. We, of course, also have a huge range of sport teams, from social kick-arounds in the park all the way through to elite sports. So whatever level of sport you're interested in, we can support you there. And because we know this is hugely important to our students, we've invested really significantly in the Student Union facilities with a £30 million refurbishment of the building that is home to our student societies. But now, really quickly, I wanted to sort of highlight the grades that you need to be looking to achieve to get an offer from us at the University of Bristol. So I'm going to start off with bachelor's and undergraduate degrees. So generally, we are looking for you to graduate with an overall average of 74% or above, but most of our courses will generally look for 80% or above, and that is for the Turkish curriculum, but we do also accept IB, A-level, and lots of other qualifications. So let me know if you'd like to know what the requirements are there. It's worth pointing out that for many of our courses, we will stipulate that we need specific grades in specific subjects. So, for example, our engineering courses are always looking for a very high level of maths. So we will, in the offer, ask for you to achieve a specific grade in maths, but that will all be set out in the conditions of your offer. For all of our courses, we also require students to demonstrate a certain level of English language proficiency, and this does vary depending on the course and the level, but it starts generally at an IELTS of 6.5 and above, but that is something that you can provide after you've applied. It's not something we need you to have at the point of application. And then if those are not the requirements that you think you'll be meeting, we do also have an international foundation year, which is a 1-year preparation course that prepares you for university study. So there are lots of options if you're not looking to meet those entry requirements. And then for our master's program, so for postgraduate, we are generally looking for a bachelor's degree with a cumulative GPA of 3.1 or 81% overall. The application process also varies, like the entry requirements, depending on the study level you are applying for. For the foundation program, it is a direct application that you can access via the QR code that is on the screen now. The master's is the same. It is a direct application on our website, very straightforward, and you can access that via the second QR code. But for our bachelor's or undergraduate courses, the process is a little bit more standardized, and you will need to use UCAS, which lets you apply for 5 different universities in one application. But this process can be a little bit tricky, especially if you're not familiar with the UK education system. So please do feel free to reach out to our colleagues at the British Education Bureau who can help you with this. We've worked with them for many, many years, and they are very experienced with submitting applications to the University of Bristol. So if you're looking for a little bit of help or a little bit of support, please do feel free to contact them, because they are able to provide that support for you. And then finally, I wanted to finish off by letting you know about our scholarship scheme. So we do have a very generous scholarship scheme at the University of Bristol. It is called Think Big, and it is open to all of our offer holders that are classified as overseas for fee purposes. Now, it does involve a separate application to the admissions application, but once you have an offer, it's certainly worth applying for, because the scholarships are awarded as £5, £10 or £20,000 discounts. So it's certainly worth an application once you have an offer from us. And it's quite a straightforward application. There will be 3 questions, and it asks about your achievements so far, your ambassadorial potential, and what you want to do in the future. So we would certainly encourage any offer holders an application for our Think Big scholarship scheme. But that is all I wanted to cover for now. So if you have any questions, do pop them in the chat. But if you want to contact me after today, I have popped my email and WhatsApp number on the screen now, so feel free to contact me that way, or the QR code will allow you to sign up for our newsletter if you're interested in hearing a little bit more about the University of Bristol. But that's all from me. I'm happy to take questions now.
So thank you very much for your presentation, Sarah. And I will help you to let you know about the questions from our participants. The first question is about the law scholarship. I mean, one of our participants is a law student and would like to know about PhD scholarship opportunities at the University of Bristol.
So the PhD scholarships are slightly different because they're a bit more ad hoc, so they come up when funding becomes available. So we would suggest looking at our website to see whether any of those opportunities come up. But it's worth bearing in mind that they are limited, and they are limited for international students as well. So we would suggest looking for funding, external funding, and not just waiting for university funding to come up, because it is very limited for international students, particularly at PhD level.
Mm-hmm. And also tuition fees, and also the specific question is whether there's any studying part at the PhD, or it's like just a research part during the study.
Yeah, so our tuition fees vary by course. So generally they are between £19,000 and £25,000 per year. And that does, like I said, it varies between courses, and there are also some courses that are more expensive than that and less expensive. But I would suggest, if there's a specific course that you're interested in, to take a look at our website, because all of the tuition fees are set out there in detail. But when it comes to, sorry, what was the second part of that question?
The second question is about the PhD as well. Is there any studying part, or it's just research during the PhD? And also, is there any exam after the master's degree to pass to the PhD program? Yeah,
so there are a couple of different ways you can study a PhD at the University of Bristol. The most traditional one is a 3-year PhD program. Now that is going to be mostly research. There will be a small number of taught units in the first year that mainly focus on your research skills. But if it's the 3-year program, it is the vast majority of it will be research with a very small amount of taught content. But there's also another option. It's referred to as 1+3, and I think this is what this student is alluding to, is that the first year is essentially a master's program or a master's by research, and it's essentially a training year. And after that, you automatically progress then onto the PhD, which is more focused on the research. So if you're a student that is thinking about a PhD, you know, research is what you want to do, I would suggest having a look at our Masters by Research courses and our 1+3 options, because that's got a built-in, basically a built-in prep year where you learn how to research, and it really prepares you for a PhD. So there are those options if students want a little bit more training before they jump into that big PhD project.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. And another question is about the living costs in the Bristol city or at the university.
Yeah, so that's a great question, because obviously that is a huge part of thinking about where you want to study. And we've got a budget that we suggest for students, so it's a range. So we say budget between £9,000 and £15,000 a year for living costs. Now that does include accommodation, and we give that range because students' living costs do really vary, and that depends on your lifestyle. But I guess what's important to take into consideration is Bristol isn't the cheapest city in the UK, but it's also not the most expensive. So it's somewhere in the middle. But living in a city that is as desirable as Bristol, it's a very popular place to live with so much going on. You sort of get what you pay for in a sense. But yeah, the living costs would generally be between £9,000 and £15,000 per year, depending on your spending habits.
Mm-hmm. And another one is A-level entry requirements to study at the University of Bristol if he is studying in England.
Yeah, so our A-level entry requirements they vary by course again, but generally we're looking for you to achieve AAB or above. There will be specific subject requirements depending on the course, so it's worth taking a look at our website, or you can send me an email actually if you'd like, and I can let you know the specific entry requirements, but generally we're looking for AAB or above.
Mm-hmm. And one more specific question is about low rankings for the University of Bristol, world rankings.
I don't have the world ranking specifically for law to hand, but our law school is very prestigious generally. Law graduates from the University of Bristol are very well looked at. I don't have the specific ranking to hand, but I can certainly provide that afterwards if you want to follow up directly.
Mm-hmm. Do you offer full MA scholarships for academic excellence 3.80 and above?
So I guess there's sort of two answers to this question in a way. We don't offer any full scholarships at the University of Bristol, so the answer to full scholarship is no. But the question also asks about, I guess, what grade you need for a scholarship. But our scholarships aren't actually merit-based, so they are not based on your grades. Because we're a high-ranking university, all of our students have very, very good grades, so we don't really see that as a differentiator. What we're looking for is students who've got a little bit more to offer. So the questions that we ask within the scholarship application are really trying to see what you've got to offer to the University of Bristol, and you know that you're a well-rounded student and you're doing things outside of your studies as well. So it's not merit-based, it's based on sort of you as a broader student in a sense.
Mm-hmm. And another one you already mentioned, I think, but about entry requirements, IELTS and entry requirements for the application.
Yeah, so those will, like I said, they vary depending on what course you're interested in. And then the IELTS also varies again, depending on what course you're interested in. Generally, we're looking for 6 or 6.5 and above, but there are lots of other qualifications we can accept to meet our English language requirements. So like I said, I would head over to the website because it sets out exactly what we ask for. Or if you've got a particular course in mind and you've got a particular set of qualifications, I can certainly advise whether you would be eligible or not.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And another one is accommodation choices. I think opportunities at the University of Bristol. Do you offer any accommodation choices?
Yes, so we have plenty of different options actually. So we have over 30 different accommodation options at the University of Bristol, and they range hugely actually. So we sort of, our most basic and our cheapest option is a single room with a shared kitchen and shared bathroom. We then have also a range of catered options, which is where students opt in on a meal plan and their food is cooked for them. And then we also have studio apartments as well. So we've got lots of different options. The location location of these accommodations also vary, depending on students' preference, really. So we have some city centre accommodation, which is right in the middle of the city, very near to campus. But then we also have a student village, which is slightly based outside the city centre, and students get a bus into the university, which is free of charge for them. But what's interesting is that's actually our most popular option. So students really like to live a little bit further away in a sort of student community. So lots of different options. Then we do also have specific accommodation for postgraduates as well, because we know postgraduates have slightly different needs and wants than undergraduates. So yeah, plenty of options in over 30 different accommodations.
Thank you. One of our students would like to apply for MEng, Mechanical and Electrical Engineering course, and he would like to know about scholarship opportunities for this specific course. Is it high school grades or merit-based, you already mentioned?
Yeah, so all of our undergraduate and master's programs, excluding undergraduate medicine, dentistry and veterinary science, are eligible for scholarship. So as long as you have an offer for one of our bachelor's degrees or one of our master's degrees, you are eligible to apply. Applications are open now, so you're welcome to go ahead and start that application. The first round closes in sometime in March, I believe, so you do have a little bit of time. Yeah, but like I said, we're not interested in your grades when it comes to the scholarship. We want you to think outside of that. We want to hear about what you like to do outside of your studies, because we've already assessed your academics to give you an offer. So we're interested in something a little bit different from the scholarship.
Thank you. And one more accommodation question. Is there any other alternatives for the accommodation, not on campus, but off campus, I think?
Yeah, so what's interesting about the University of Bristol is we do describe ourselves as a campus, but we're not a campus in a traditional sense because we are based in a city centre. So our university buildings are all close together, but they are mixed in with the city. So the shops, restaurants are all sort of in between the university and in the university. So there's not necessarily any on-campus accommodation as such, but there is accommodation that is very, very close to the university. But in terms of other options, our accommodation office can also help you find privately rented accommodation, so in shared houses or in other types of managed accommodation. So there is that support available for you, and we know students sometimes prefer that because they can live somewhere that's maybe cheaper or maybe suits their lifestyle a little bit better. So yeah, there's plenty of other options outside of university-owned accommodation.
Thank you. And one more question is about working opportunities at the University of Bristol.
Yeah, so there are plenty of opportunities for our students to work while they study with us, and our career service can help with that. So I mentioned in my presentation a lot of the ways they can help you to find a graduate job, but they also can help you find work while you're studying if that's something you want to do, if you want to get a part-time job. And there's lots of different things you can do. One of the ways is to work at the university itself. We have lots of ambassadorial options for you where you can help staff like myself to help prospective students to answer their questions, give them tours of the university. But they can also help you find part-time jobs anywhere else in the city. So in shops, restaurants, cafes, and they can support you with that as well. So yeah, plenty of opportunities to work alongside your studies.
And I think you already indicated, but one of our participants would like to know about average tuition fees at the University of Bristol.
Yeah, so on average, the tuition fees are between £19,000 and £24,000 per year, but there are some courses that are less and more than that. So do take a look at our website to be sure.
I think we already covered all the questions. I'm just checking.
Sarah, I would like to ask a question. Can you mention a little bit about the education system we provide at the moment because of COVID-19? There is one question from Hande Kaplan asking about 2021 academic year, is it going to be online or different? Obviously, I guess COVID-19 is going to decide about that, but how is the situation now? How is Bristol facing that and providing study options?
Yeah, so I guess we would all really, really hope when it comes to September 2021 that we go back to normal. But if that is not possible, what we will do is continue with the system that we have currently. And what that looks like at the University of Bristol is what we call a blended approach to learning, but you may also have heard it referred to as hybrid learning. And essentially what that means is that any of our large teaching, so large group teaching in a lecture hall where you may have 100 students and one academic, that has been moved online because that works quite well online. Students quite enjoy it because they can watch them whenever they want or wherever they want. So that teaching is online currently. But we have managed to maintain small group teaching in person with social distancing. So that includes tutorials, seminars, any practicals, any lab-based work. That has all been in person because our students find that really valuable and they get to interact with our facilities and it also helps with sort of the community side of things as well. So small group teaching is in person with social distancing, and we will continue that as much as possible, as well as the online side of things. I guess what's really important to sort of emphasize as well is that throughout the pandemic, the UK government has really prioritised education and has really made a point of making sure that universities are able to stay open and operate as much face-to-face teaching as possible. That's something that they very much support. So should we still be in a situation where we're unable to go back to normal by September 2021, we'll continue with this blended approach where as much of the teaching in person as possible, but then any sort of large group teaching will be online. So we'll continue with the blended approach if we need to.
Great, thank you so much. Well, thank you very much, Sarah. I think this is it. No more questions coming through from our parents or students. We would like to thank you for your time and for the very useful information you have provided today. Thank you so much. Çok teşekkürler katılımınız için, vakit ayırdığınız için. Çok değerli bilgiler edindiğimize inanıyorum. Bir sonraki webinar serimizde görüşmek dileğiyle. İyi akşamlar diliyorum. Hoşça kalın. Bye bye. Bye, Sarah. See you later.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.